We sat down with Bryan King yesterday. We didn't get to. We played for you some of his interview yesterday, Senator King. We didn't get to all of it, and it got really good. We talked about tort reform. We're going to listen to the end of Senator Bryan King's interview from the Marble Palace yesterday. Republicans on that side than there are up here, on the Senate side. And so I guess have you been surprised at the lack of conservatives bucking the leadership, bucking the governor, bucking the speaker? Have you been surprised that hasn't happened more often? Because I feel like yesterday might have been one of those times, because it was one of the few times that Charlie Collins got up and spoke against a bill, and they voted the opposite of the way Charlie Collins wanted them to, for example. So, I mean, have you been surprised by all that, or you expected it, or?
I mean, there's getting any more where there is, sadly, and I don't think that the people out there know how bad a financial situation we're in. I mean, they still keep touting these things, but, they may make up the revenue some this month. But let me tell you something. When you have a over $5 billion, I mean, with federal money, it's 20+ billion, but with the federal money part, you want to end, if you were in your household or your business or your farm, you would want to end this fiscal year with at least a $250 million surplus, just to have enough little cushion, okay? That's what your goal would be, not to just they're just talking about barely making it. And you know what? They are continually hiding things about how bad a financial situation
I've been speculating about that.
Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
They keep raising taxes. I mean, the whole thing, whether you sit there and think about the internet, Amazon tax, or bricks and mortars, that's a debatable question, okay? And I have been on the side, against a lot of people, on the side of the fairness issue. I think it's a fairness issue, bricks and mortar, of paying taxes, okay. I wouldn't have voted for this last files bill. You know why? They don't tell you where the money's going. The biggest thing down here that they want to keep hiding is the fact of they want you to put it in the pot, and not know where it's going.
To your point,
to me is unacceptable.
Senator King, to your point, I think that's why it's stalled in the House Rev and Tax Committee right now. Senator Fowles,
Democrats
want to direct where the money goes,
yeah.
and Asa, I feel like, wants a blank check. So
he needs a blank check because he is in such bad.
Well, so maybe a month ago, you came on the program and you said, "Hey, we're $60 million behind projections with 5 months left in the fiscal year. Now it's down to 4 months."
Yeah,
and so you said we might do better this month, but I mean, I always operate under the assumption in any administration, Democrat or Republican, it's a lot worse. I mean, if it's bad, if we're behind that much, it's a lot worse than we even know, just like you just said. So do we have any new numbers as to how much?
I heard that they're going to make up some of it this month, as they would expect, with rebates and things that fluctuate. The key indicator of Arkansas's economy, if you want to know what it is sales tax collections, what people spend on an everyday basis. And they have not hit projections, okay? And so that's the biggest indicator of what your economy's doing. And, with Trump in there, people may get more optimistic about stuff, but that's going to take time. You still have a lot of variables with Arkansas's economy. Say what you want to about Trump and some of these trade deals. Sometimes the good and bad in that is that when other countries fight back in trade wars and trade deals, they hit agriculture products. Well, we're number one.
Yeah,
number one economy is agriculture products. So that's a danger. I mean, gas prices are relatively low from what they had been on their highs. I mean, that could go up. And so there are so many variables out there right now. But once again, this governor, the crime rate is terrible. People are sick, and all their solutions it's just to keep turning more people out
earlier. Yeah,
and in making them, when they are turned out, making it harder to send them back to jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Real quick before we go, tort reform. Okay.
Tort control.
Tort reform means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. This last tort reform bill, I think the one that they're going to go with, that's going to get put on the ballot for constitutional amendment for the people to vote on, I have reservations about it. Number one, for two reasons, but the first one is the big one, is I don't believe that the government should tell any profession, even if they are trial attorneys, that they can't contract for a certain percent, that you can only make this much. Because if they did that with me in radio, I'd say, hey, get out of here. I want to sell my ad for what I want to sell an ad for. That's my first objection to it, and yet it passed. And the second objection is, to me, it does seem, and I've read some papers, UALR, that Arkansas will be one of the only states in the country to have complete authority over the rulemaking process of the judicial branch. Not, there's some people that kind of share the responsibility, judicial and legislative, but the paper I read at ULR pretty much says Arkansas will be the only state to have complete control of this.
Yeah, it's scary.
So that's the other reason why I'm weary. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a scary. every regular Arkansan out there, they use the situation of the trial lawyers, frivolous lawsuits, and I understand that. Okay, that is an issue. But, the backstop and the beauty of what our founders set up was that democracy is about majority power, but it's also about shared power. And the biggest power that people have is when they go into a ballot box and vote. The second thing that you give them is the jury system, where if me and you have a dispute, whatever that may be, that we go in and we were able to contract and do what we need to do to get to prepare to court, and then have a jury of our peers, people in our community, decide the merits of that. Well, now you're going to have the legislature, politicians, before you get to your jury instructions and everything, you're going to have a politician going, no, I don't think so. And it makes it where I think that it's going to be very dangerous that the little guy will not be able to fight the big guy in court. I think that's a big danger. I think that on the frivolous lawsuit part, the backstop is the jury system. I sat on a jury one time that was a frivolous lawsuit. I have experience in that. I sit there and listen to the testimony. When we went in the jury room, it was almost like we took as much time to select me as jury foreman as it did to select the merits of the case. It was that frivolous. And I hated that person that was accused or tried to be responsible when they weren't responsible, go through that situation. But, the jury system was the backstop. But now you're going to have politicians sitting in the jury box with you, or being able to limit you and giving your instructions on what might be a dispute between us.
Well, you've been down here for a while. You've seen this. You've kept your principles, Senator Bryan King, and I could totally see. All right, right before legislative session. Maybe there's a special interest that's involved.
Sure,
in
big insurance company. Have we got some big insurance companies getting billions of dollars down here?
These guys will put an amendment in or a line in here or there. It's literally the easiest thing in the world. And then all of a sudden, hey, this evidence is not admissible for this special interest in this class action lawsuit.
Or you have something with hearsay evidence, or you have something with, these lawyers and judges, and when they go through a rulemaking process, it goes through a very tedious, long process to be able to change something. And we got a lawyer sitting over here right now nodding his head, I think. And so he's in agreement, I think. And so down here, something could be changed that I don't even know about, that, in a matter of days, that could have such a detrimental effect. It's like a rudder on a ship, what this bill will do, and as far as our jury system. It's going to turn our jury system into something very dangerous.
It could.
It will. I'm just going to say it will. There's too much money down here. We've seen it with Obamacare, Medicaid expansion. You vote for that, well, man, you're going to get it. You could get a $100,000 a year cush job in state government. You can get a good gig, lobbyist gig. Your friends can get good gigs.
Yeah. Well, and
I haven't. You vote to keep these people from getting money, and they don't like they tell you to go to hell.
I'm
sorry if I mentioned.
Well, no, I mean, I hope we can get at some point your disclosure bill or your idea to make people disclose their relationship with Medicaid entities. I hope that can get some traction.
Yeah, we're going to do that. I think we're going to have some news with an amendment on there. We'll be sharing. I hope you're there with committee and
let us know. Yeah,
and I mean, right now the jobless rate for my friends and family members for cush state jobs and cool lobbying gigs and cool consulting gigs, the jobless rate for all my people is very low.
Yeah,
I think it's at
nothing.
I think it's at 0.
And that cannot be said for a lot of other establishment Republicans, family and friends.
Yeah,
it can't. Anyway, Senator Bryan King, appreciate it, sir.
Hey, thanks, Paul.
All right, folks, back in a minute.